The Armistice of November 11, 1918. On November 11, 1918, the Armistice of Compiègne brought to an end what had been, up to that moment, the most devastating war in human history. The Great War marked not only the close of one global conflict but also the prelude to another one that, years later, would have even more catastrophic consequences, the Second World War. On the morning of November 11, 1918, world history took a dramatic turn. After 4 long and bloody years of fighting on the western and eastern fronts of Europe where soldiers endured inhuman conditions, entrenched in narrow, muddy ditches, the long-awaited ceasefire finally arrived. The end of the war also meant the collapse of several great empires, the Austro-Hungarian, Ottoman, Russian, and German. Inside a dark, cold railway carriage in the forest of Compiègne, representatives of France and Britain from the Triple Entente met with envoys of the German and Austro-Hungarian empires to negotiate and sign the armistice. However, this agreement applied only to the Western Front, since the conflict in the East had already effectively ended. Russia had withdrawn from the war after signing the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk in March 1918, Bulgaria had signed an armistice on September 29, the Ottoman Empire followed on October 30, and Austria-Hungary on November 3. At the outset, many believed the war would last only a few weeks, or perhaps months at most. The grim reality, however, proved otherwise. Rapid advances in weaponry introduced new instruments of destruction: machine guns, automatic cannons, tanks, submarines, and combat aircraft. Chemical warfare also made its debut, with gases such as mustard gas, which, though not always lethal, incapacitated soldiers and left them defenseless on the battlefield. This technological escalation, coupled with the refusal of both sides to surrender, prolonged the conflict and resulted in staggering human losses. It is estimated that around 9 million soldiers and 7 million civilians died during the war, in addition to 6 million more who perished from hunger, disease, and deprivation. Over 20 million people were wounded. The consequences were catastrophic not only economically but also generationally. For years, the First World War was known simply as the Great War, a conflict that brought widespread famine, economic collapse, and profound suffering across the globe.